Hello, hello! My name is Callista, and welcome back to When the Night Comes. In the last episode, we discovered who was responsible for the influx of creature sightings in Lunaris. And oddity of oddities, it was Omen and Elaine, the most unlikely of suspects, I thought. But it seemed that their passing from the Hell Realm into Lunaris, it caused some sort of tear, shall we say, in the mesh that kind of keeps those planes separated. And that tear has been calling out to creatures across the continent and drawing them to Lunaris, that it really does have to be repaired. Sooner than later, hopefully, someone will know how to fix it. But in the meantime, we were going to see Alkar to see what he has to say about this situation, I think. Hesitantly, I kneel by it and knock. A long moment passes with no response. Just as I was beginning to feel silly, it's daylight, he's probably in town, it suddenly swings up so fast it nearly hits me in the face. Alkar tilts his head, ears perked. His expression slowly morphs into a grin, if a tired one. You got a warrant. That's not what guests bring with them on a house visit, Alkar. Depends. I shift, intending to sit since honestly I'm not sure if he's going to let me into his house. The moment I start to, however, Alkar retreats back into the cave with a beckon. He's already gone, and if I don't follow, the trapdoor is going to fall on my knees, so I hastily follow him down. The latch is a little difficult to work out, but after a moment I manage to fasten it the way I think it's supposed to be fastened. By the time I get into the cave properly, which looks the same, with just a bunch of messy blankets and pillows on one of his benches, proof that he really did just wake up, Alkar is already across the room. I watch him throw firewood into a small stove and put a kettle on to boil. And you know what? For posterity, there we go. What brings you here, mighty hunter? Instincts. Yeah, that's right. I wasn't really too sure why we were going to visit Alkar. Camille never really said. She just decided to go and see him. Alkar throws me a smirk. He opens an iron chest next to the stove and pulls out a jar of something dried, then joins me by the cushions. Prying the lid open, he offers me the treat. Is this dog chow? If you're a dog, everything you eat is dog chow. So, are you a dog? No, mate, it's fucking candied fruits. I snort, but take a piece. So I'm not under arrest, nothing has exploded in the town that I know about. You cut your feelings on something. No, It's then that I realise I don't know what the hell I've come to him for, really. Comfort? Going to Alkar for comfort? Not likely. Though now that I'm here, there is something I need to tell him. The hunter you attacked. Well, the one whose attack you were imprisoned for, I should say. Alkar's wolf ears immediately flatten to his head. I can see his jaw clench, but he looks straight at me, red eyes sharp. Yeah? His name is Azazel. We found signs of him in the dungeons. Alkar inhales sharply, then sighs, the relief evident in the drop of his shoulders. But then he raises his eyebrows.
Wait, in the dungeons? The dungeons where they kept me? What did he do?
I don't think he did anything. I think he was just prime material for experimentation. We don't know, but he was there, and I'm sure he was at the very least alive when you were taken in. Then why did they... I don't know. Alkar snorts, and this time the sound is bitter. He gets to his feet and begins to pace, tightening the bandages around his hands. I can feel his upset, the intensity of it, and under all of that, brewing resentment. I can't blame him. You keep using past tenses. What happened to this Azazel bloke? I don't know that either, which is the problem. Alkar pauses and looks at me in disbelief. After a moment, however, he sighs and comes back to sit down again. Guess that's why you're here. To tell you, yes.
Your employers sure like to keep shit hush-hush. Figured as much. But thanks for telling me. It's been sitting like a fucking gravestone on my mind since... Well. Well, now I feel pretty fucking bummed out, actually. I can't believe they put me through that shit for something that never even happened.
I'm sorry. This shouldn't have happened. They had no right.
They don't need rights. They only needed a reason and the upper hand.
What's wrong is wrong. He's right. Are you always this pessimistic? Ooh. Oh, this one... This just seems like a dickhead thing to say. He was thrown in prison without cause. He was kept there. They took his blood. They did all of this shit to him. And then they just let him go after telling him, like, oh yeah, you totally killed a guy. You totally killed a guy. So, like, he's just found out that, no, I didn't kill anyone. They threw me in prison for no fucking reason. They did all of those experiments on me. Like, he has every right to be pessimistic. Like, he's just found out all of that heavy shit. Like, of course he's gonna be bummed out. Like, this just seems like a dickhead thing to say. I guess I don't understand what they mean by what's wrong is wrong. I guess what's throwing me off is that we have he's right. So, like, you know, we're agreeing with him. Like, oh yeah, they had no reason to do this. They just had, you know, the upper hand, and so they took their chance. That's bullshit. I agree with you. So in which case, what does this mean? I guess maybe this is like, yeah, something bad happened to you, but you can't blame the organization. What's wrong is wrong. Don't blame... I don't know. Like I said, I can't tell what this... I can't tell what it's referring to, so... It's between these two. Here's the thing. I don't know why I feel drawn to what's wrong is wrong. But I'm umming and ahhing because I can't tell what it's talking about. Oh. Let's see. What would Camille be thinking? This is an organization that she has dedicated her entire life to. And I don't... Just because the enforcers here in Lunaris are clearly up to some dodgy shit doesn't necessarily mean that enforcers everywhere are up to some dodgy shit. At the same time, the enforcers they do keep secrets from hunters. They enjoy a position of power, despite the fact that most of them don't actually do anything. They just sit behind desks and do paperwork. Meanwhile, the hunters are the ones actually going out and fighting things, putting their lives on the line, having to deal with the psychological repercussions of like, oh yeah, I had to deal with a vampire that had killed a bunch of children, and I found those child corpses, and then I killed the vampire, and then like his lover came out and cried, and like, you know, like hunters are the ones who have to deal with all of the emotional baggage of the job, and yet they're kind of treated like dogs' bodies. I guess I think maybe what Camille is vying for in all of this is that I don't think she wants the agency destroyed, because here's the thing, they do serve a purpose. There are creatures out there who just want to kill humans and do dodgy shit. So you need someone to combat those creatures. However, I think maybe Camille wants to rejig how everything is done. You know, hunters and enforcers are on equal grounds. Enforcers don't keep secrets from hunters. Hunters get the respect they deserve, you know. Again, that doesn't help me. I'm going to assume that this is a like I said, this is like, oh well, if they were dickheads, then they were always going to be dickheads. The fact that they're in this organization is irrelevant. Like, what's wrong is wrong. If they were going to do something wrong, then they were always going to do something wrong. Which, when you think about it in those terms, I disagree with. The fact that they were in the agency probably emboldened them. Who's going to say no to them? They're the agency. And I'm hoping this is more of like the enforcers in this town are corrupt. Because I think Camille would agree with that. Something has gone horribly wrong in Lunaris. That doesn't mean that enforcers and hunters everywhere are up to stuff, but the ones in Lunaris clearly are, and that has to be stopped. The bitter pessimism in Alkar's words sting, but they sting no worse than thoughts I myself have had in the past. A reason and the upper hand is sometimes all we need, isn't it? A weapon, a reason, and the upper hand. And now my weapon feels heavy at my side. And what are you going to do about all this, Camille? I'll find the truth. That's all I can do, isn't it? No, that's what I must do. Now that we've come this far, then that's all I ask too. His hand closes around my wrist. I raise my eyes from the floor to look at him, and the sheer intensity with which he stares back at me, the sheer sincerity in his eyes, almost carries the force of a blow. Thank you. Aw, that ended a lot better than I thought it would. I venture deeper into the catacombs, the darkened tunnels becoming somewhat familiar to me now. I hear a quiet laugh, and I smile to myself as a figure appears from the shadows. Hello again, my dear. What's cooking, good looking? Hello, Raven. May I escort you to Lord Casimir's lair? I mean, not that you have a choice, I'm terribly bored. I begin walking, and Raven falls into step by my side, though she walks backwards. Those crimson eyes are not leaving my face for even a second. Why are you bored? Sun's up, can't do much other than annoy Finn, and now you're here to do that, I assume. More like work, I suppose. She snorts again, and it quickly becomes a familiar sound. He works too much. All of you do. Then she skids to a stop in front of me as we reach Finn's door, her hand raised. Listen, I just want you to know we have your back. Not that Finn wouldn't have already told you that, but it's important to me that you know. The way she looks at me tells me I can believe her, that Raven is loyal to a fault, and that I'm lucky to have such allies. Thank you, Raven. I appreciate that. Sweet. Now go do your boring important people stuff, I guess. I'll try not to interrupt. In a flash, she's gone, absorbed by the darkness. The door to Finn's room opens with a quiet creak before I can raise my fist to knock, and he greets me with a smile. Afternoon. Please come in. I eagerly step inside. The candlelight that flickers in his lavish quarters decidedly more inviting than the dank hallways. I heard Raven lurking. She didn't bother you, did she? I shake my head as he moves to lean against his desk. She was fine, if not a little strange. He tilts his head this way and that, feigning tossing around a deep thought in his mind before grinning. Strange is her specialty. We should discuss Fierro. Discuss what Piper and I found down there. His expression neutralizes, his posture becoming tense. Yes, we should. I have some concerns, as I'm sure you do. What could they want with his blood, Finn? I'm no expert, but if I'm not mistaken, vampire blood can be harmful to anything that isn't of your kind. He stares off into the distance for a moment. The look is pensive, as if he is considering his next words very carefully.
What do you know of your initiation? Of what they put you through when you're chosen?
If I remember correctly, one of the first codex entries we got, it told us about the Hunter Academy. Children are taken from their families. And when I say taken, I don't necessarily mean like, we're taking this child. Like, being a hunter is a fairly prestigious thing. So it's less of like, we're stealing this child and more like, we are offering this child, the chance to become a hunter. This is very prestigious. Most people are gonna jump at that chance and be like, yes, go for it, child, go. So if I remember correctly, children, they're taken, and then I seem to remember there being something. There was something along the lines of, there's some part of hunter training that not everyone can do. Because if you remember, witches can't become hunters. That's why a lot of enforcers are witches, because their children who maybe their magic hadn't developed yet, they do this thing and they have a really adverse reaction. So, I've said this before, I am getting major flashbacks to Dragon Age Origins, to the joining. I open my mouth to respond, but I find myself having nothing to say. I remember little of what happened back when I was just a child, back when I first arrived at the academy. I remember waking up and feeling different, feeling strong. You ingested something that made you into what you are, Camille. You did a joining ritual, that's what you did. I frown, frustrated that I can't recall such a pivotal moment in my life, the moment that quite literally made me who I am. I can feel him watching me carefully, and when I meet his gaze, his eyes are sad.
I know little of what they did to make you the way you are, but I've been around long enough to hear rumors. Nothing about what's happening here adds up, of that much I'm sure. The only person who has answers is Harry, but we can't even trust the man who swore to lead and protect you.
Oh, the reason why I'm pausing... It's one thing to be like, okay, to become a hunter, you've gotta, drink this. Okay, you did it. Good job. You're a hunter now. Go take a nap. Whatever. It's one thing to do that. It's another to be like, okay, drink the thing. You drank it. Now we're gonna wipe your memory so you can't remember this. Because the fact that there is a block of time that Camille can't remember, presumably she can remember arriving at the academy, but then her next memory is waking up and feeling strong. So she doesn't know what they did to make her into what she is. Oof. The agency has been keeping secrets for a very long time. If they're taking Fiero's blood, it's not with good intention. Vampire blood can be incredibly dangerous if used with malicious intent. We need to get him out of there. I search my brain for ideas, solutions, anything. The silence we stand in is heavy with our contemplation, and something hits me. When I first encountered the creature, it almost felt like I'd been thralled. As if it had compelled you to just freeze. It manipulated you. Manipulated. Then something clicks. Ask about Fiero's abilities, ask about the rumors. The rumors are intriguing. However, right now, if something has just clicked into place about the creature, then I think we should stay on that track. Fiero is an empath, right? He can both feel emotion and manipulate it. Yes, and he's incredibly powerful. Levi wouldn't have looked at him twice if he wasn't different. There are other vampires that have such abilities. Even I can influence people's thoughts, but not to the extent that he can. I think about the implications of that kind of power falling into the wrong hands. How they leave me feeling leaden in place. Can these abilities be transferred, say through consuming his blood? I can't say I've ever heard of such a thing being done, but it's certainly not impossible. That creature, if it has been given his blood, why? What could that possibly achieve? Again, I've said this before and I'll say it again. You fight monsters with monsters. Oh my god, you fight monsters with monsters. They made monsters. They made hunters. Hunters aren't exactly human. They're stronger. They're tougher. They have those empath skills. Presumably, from drinking the blood of a powerful empath. I'm not saying Fiero, but somewhat, sorry. I know I've been saying that the hunters have been ingesting shit, but it didn't really click in my brain. So yeah, that's probably why Camille is such a powerful empath. She ingested the blood of a vampire that was also very empathic. And she doesn't remember that. So the agency created monsters, they created the hunters, but then even more creatures start showing up, and Harry feels the need to okay, there's even more, we're not keeping up with this. We need to make better monsters, newer monsters, tougher monsters. And so he creates the creature. And again, that has to be... it's all using blood, I think. I think he's doing something to the blood, adding something to it, and that's... Because here's the thing, I'm pretty sure the creature is... It's either Azazel or Aya, or an amalgama of both of them. There could be more than one creature. We don't know how many people they've done this to. That's another possibility. There could be multiple. Yeah, so I think they fuck about with the blood, give it to a hunter, that hunter transforms into the creature. And like Aurora said, for a year, everything was fine. You know, creature killings were down because they had their creature, the creature, attacking other creatures, but then either it, they, or one of them got loose and started attacking hunters. Either because it was you hurt me, there is still some semblance of me in here, you fuckers hurt me, so I'm gonna get revenge, or because hunters are monsters. It registers them as oh, you're what I should be hunting, because you're not exactly human. So it could just be doing what it's programmed to do. Oh, and that would explain why it never attacked humans. Until Aurora, that would explain why it never attacked them, because it's oh, you're safe. I'm programmed to help you guys, I'm not going to go after you. But then in that case, why did it hurt Aurora? Oh, I can't say I've ever heard of such a thing being done, but it's certainly not impossible. That creature, if it has been given his blood, why? What could that possibly achieve? I take a deep breath, trying to gather my thoughts. Already they're heavy in my mind at what this might mean. Something new. Something powerful. And you know what? I am going to leave this episode off right here. In the next one, we continue discussing this with Finn, but until then, please remember to like if you enjoyed, leave a comment below, and if you wanted to subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. I've been Callista. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.